the format works in this way. For 15-20 minutes, I will ask something to Luciano, and I want that you can hear from Luciano, from his experience in the field, how every day he rolls in life. And later, you will ask to me and to Luciano questions about the car design world, about the education in the car design world.
Here. But basically, what did I do? I went to Art Center, and I had the chance at that time. I was the only Italian in my class. And after about 3 years and a half, studying also during the summer time, I completed my Art Center Bachelor in Science in the field of transportation design. And after that, I got hired 2 months later from Fiat. After that, I had, of course, my interviews with my portfolio with several automakers, design studios. And Fiat has been the one that really took me kind of fast. So in November, I started in Fiat Design Center with Architetto Ermanno Cressoni, and also with Chris Bengal, who at that time was the general manager for Fiat, working for Ermanno Cressoni. And they hired me. So that's what I started to do, to be a designer. And that's where I started as an exterior designer. Then I tried also to do some interiors, which was pretty fine. So it was a surprise for me as well. And then little by little, I became a sort of a junior design manager. And the Fiat Seicento, which is, just wait, that I take some of my, so which is this one, okay?
I know this one.
One of my probably most famous sketches. And I was designing this with a short team of young designers that were coming also as my ex-students. And we together had this beautiful challenge in Fiat. We made the Fiat 600 interior and exterior. And I worked on the exterior design as well as on the interior. And the most important thing that I was making my first experience as design manager. After the Fiat period, I went to Renault because Renault hired me in the year 2000. And one thing I want to say is that, as you know, but not everybody might know, is that the first 11 years of my experience, I was the designer working on production design projects, but at the same time, I taught as a design teacher in 3 different schools. I started for 4 years every weekend with Art Center Europe, so in Switzerland, which is my ex-school. And then I moved with IAAD the first 2 years, and during the weekdays, I was the chairman of the transportation design department at the Istituto Europeo di Design in Torino when it was open. Basically, I was the one that opened this department, and I managed that department for 8 years until year 2000. So this is briefly my career. So far, so good. I forgot to say that the Renault Twizy is one of my latest projects for which I'm kind of known in Renault. The Renault Kangoo, which is a less sexy project, it's one of the most important projects at Renault, and that currently I'm working as the advanced design manager.
Okay, great. So what I want to say is that life as a designer, a lot of people have this fantasy that to be a designer in a studio, and Michele can confirm it to you because he had the same experience, it's not like in the film, where you see that everybody have their coffee, you know, this intellectual look, and everybody's with the music that sometimes we cannot even understand what type of music it is. The boss comes and then we stop to talk about cultural elements for a future better life. It's not like that. We have, of course, our desk with all the technology needed to be designers, to sketch, to work, to have, we have our plannings, we have some stress, of course, And of course, everybody have their earphones with their music and stuff. But what is very important to understand that there is always a relationship between what is a professionalism that every one of us must give and must ensure to the studio, to the team, to the company, and of course your boss that once in a while comes in and checks what you're doing and maybe explains a few things, and then you have meetings to which you must attend or you might attend. There are responsibilities about your model, your alias model, so you work in a team, in a short team of 2 people, okay, working together, and then you have reviews, periodically reviews, and of course you have also your 5 minutes of coffee with your colleagues, laughing, and of course having some really cool time together, what we call trends and trend images that you can search the way you want, whether it's from Pinterest or from other source, so that you can nurture yourself and of course get images and use those images to make your own mood boards that after they are developed and modified and corrected to make sure that you can create the base on which your project is prepared, and then you develop your project, you can justify your project.
Yeah, I think that I know perfectly what you mean.
Yeah, you can implement with your experience in Alfa Romeo.
It was the same. It's exactly the same. I try all time to my students to explain how is exactly the real life in the car design world. And the reason why I try to suggest them to play in a different way, to approach to the study in a different way, is just because on socials, on YouTube, or in some websites, sometimes the company show just PR pictures, just for the press release stuff. And
we all do,
but they believe that we are just here on the magazines or the website, beautiful, pulling the tape. Well, probably the guys that didn't understood yet that for to design and to make a car, we will spend several years, and and
yes.
there are a lot of meetings.
I confirm.
You confirm. We are in the beginning of the first picture. We are beautiful with black hair, and in the last picture we are completely whitey, a bit more older. So, I just want to confirm to all the persons that are online now that every day in the design center you will do a lot of things, not just to draw, to follow meetings, to control and check the 3D files with the alias modelers, and also to control the modeling scale 1-to-1 with the clay modelers.
Exactly.
So our job is not just to play and to draw something,
No.
And I hope that all the person here understood this thing, because our job is something more difficult, not just to draw and stop.
As often I explain in my videos when I do the design talk on my YouTube channel, it is a whole of things, lots of things that every designer, whether he's a young designer or whether he's a design manager or a design director, there are a lot of things that we must take into account, because design as a discipline, it's something that embraces a lot of other disciplines together, because it is thanks to this capability that we have to put all together and make everybody agree on our design, that we summarize and make sure that the project can come out. So if an engineer that is responsible for suspension, mechanical element, which is very important for the car, is very concentrated on his element, and another one is concentrated on car seats or dashboards or plastics, design has to be concerned with everything. So automatically we work in a different context, which is very wide, while versus other people that just are concentrating their own element. So that's why designers must understand that after the pretty picture, after that, there is all the development. And that development, every designer must be responsible to follow it up. And to make it like that, he has to do his or her homework, and the disciplined, I would say, sense of responsibility. So if you are able to do that, you will belong to that team, designer team, and you will grow with that design team. If you just want to remain a nice creative element of the studio, you will remain at that level and you will not develop during your career. So that's something that must be clear. Strategic manager must be visionary. So you must have a vision. So that's what often I say to students. If we take the same thing, okay, to a lower level to us, okay, and then to students, the question that I always ask to students: do you have a vision? Why do you want to sketch pretty pictures? Because if you're a good illustrator, honestly, I don't care. To be honest, I don't give a shit. The most important thing is, why do you use your talent of sketching well? What is your vision? What do you see? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And now all the people tell me, I see myself in drawing Ferraris. That's another thing that I don't like. Because to be a designer, it's not, how can I say, the dream to get into Porsche or Ferrari or McLaren. That cannot be your goal. To be a designer, it's something different. You are orientating people to use products that you are designing, and you are giving to those people, so a part of society, either a better way or a worse way to use products and cars. So you are influencing their life. Is their life better thanks to you, or it's going to be your life worse thanks to you? So to be a designer, it's around that responsibility.
Great. So most of the audience now is a person that loves the car design world, and I think that there are a lot of guys from all around the world just to say hello. During our chat, we are receiving a lot of messages. My friends from
No, we are not brother, not siamo fratelli.
Siamo fratelli.
Too bad, because I like him.
So now, just moving back to the educational world. I know, Luciano, that you are an internship tutor in your studio. So
Yes.
I want to ask you, what do you see when you receive a portfolio in Renault?
Yeah, that's a big question. That's another
Very
$1 million
big
question.
Many
Yeah, I
guys
made
want
that.
to know how you
Yes, I
select the
know.
person in Renault.
My followers always ask me, excuse me, can you tell me how do I have to prepare my portfolio? That's a typical question. I'm sure that you also have the same question.
Hello.
When you guys make a portfolio, don't forget that for us on the other side, you are making a part of yourself, and you're putting a part of yourself on the table, my table. What is important in a portfolio? First of all, as I say, always there are three important things, quality, that
Three
the
pillars.
portfolio, that they must be there, because if you don't have one of them, you are in a big trouble. You must have creativity. When I say creativity, that's a part of a talent, your talent. The second thing is that you must have good skills. When I say skills, this is really part of your talent. And skills means, as I said, to be able to make some, to use your
Sketches
tools.
like this.
Yeah, your tools, that whether they are manual, analogical, or digital, to make sure that between the two words, the freehand stuff and digital stuff, there is no difference. Because sometimes I see portfolios where there are really few freehand sketches, not too well done, and there are the beautiful, pretty pictures done with Photoshop or other softwares. When I see that, for me, that is not a good portfolio.
I agree.
The reason
I agree.
is very simple. Everybody can become an illustrator. Everybody. On YouTube, you find lots of good illustrators that are very, very good, young.
Many.
The really brilliant people, much better than me. I mean, you see the red car there?
Yeah.
This is nothing compared to what they do.
I agree.
But to be an illustrator, it's not to be a designer. To be a designer, it's also to be a good illustrator. I don't know if you understand the difference of what I'm saying.
I understand exactly about what you are saying.
Exactly.
I
So,
hope that the guys here, they will understand.
so the sketches, the freehand sketches, okay, like the one on the left there, you see those ones. Wait, I'm gonna destroy my office for you.
Your office for me.
So you see, a free,
Yeah.
this is 10 minutes, 15 minutes, very quick. I done this for the wheels and stuff. But you can use that, I could say, yeah, this is just an idea, very quick idea, and I trace over and do a different type of design. That means, if you want to do that professionally, that means you are telling me, and I can see how you think. And most of all, how is your degree of creativity, which is the most important element.
I agree.
So, creativity, sketching, and then, how can I say, skills, sketching well, and good illustrations. That you can do also, of course, with digital softwares, because today it's like that. Also, you know, everybody has Photoshop, Paint, whatever. Keyshot, use a nice digital model
All
to make
softwares.
beautiful stuff. That after that we go and put the final touch, the water drop, it's okay. That's beautiful illustration. Why? Because good illustrations, well done, in which you have a good focal point, a nice dramatic perspective, nice dramatic contrast, and everything, it creates the emotional thing that we use to sell better the design. But the most important moment where we see the design, it's here.
Yeah, no.
It's there, at the sketching stage. Okay,
I agree.
So just to close this argument, this topic, so what your portfolio should have, well, it should have very well done stuff with a good percentage of freehand stuff, digital stuff, photographs, because you might have models, stuff like that, I can imagine, I hope, some mood boards, a good organization of your work. A portfolio should be an emotional witnesses of yourself. Your creativity has to touch the heart and the brain of me on the other side. I don't know you, so when I open, I don't want to say, well, you know, it looks like others. Then it's fact. If I open and say, hold on, look at this guy.
Yeah.
And there is something there
I
that
say
is touching
not the
me.
X factor, I say the wow factor.
Yeah.
The moment that I open a portfolio, because, you know, I spend the last 9-10 years of my summers controlling thousands of portfolios from all around the world for the students that they want to move and study here in Milan. And, you know, sometimes few times along this year, I react in a way saying, wow. So when I said,
exactly.
wow, I say, wow, this is a very cool guy. And, you know, most of the guys that I say, wow, now they are working on the field.
Yeah.
I felt that those guys were very talented. So I agree, I completely agree with your point of view. And I hope that the person here, they could understand how it's important.
Michele, I want just to make the last very quick example, and I think that this might help us. I want to show some details, because people see the big picture, okay? And they say, wow, nice, did you see the red car? It's not important, the red car. Look at the details.
Yeah.
Because that detail is design. And the sensibility of my freehand and the use of color and light and shadow and everything is to give a value to that design. So here you see a part of the creativity, the fun, because here I was having really fun. This is a demo I made on my YouTube channel.
I know what you mean.
And so there you find the excitement.
Yep.
You find the design, and then the skills to give value to that design.
I agree. So you're working in a company, so you know how to do a car, how to design a car. Luciano showed now just a sketch, and the first reaction, I think, for most of them, say, wow, cool sketch. Maybe you didn't understand that all the definition, the details, how it shows the surface reflected, the highlights, how it explained the radius on the sections is exactly the difference between a car designer and a student. Many times you care more about the total appearance of the car, but you miss a lot of important things. Then for a professional designer, are the most important thing to show. So many times I'm suggesting to my students to do a lot of sections on the drawing because they need to understand how the shapes works, for example.
Exactly.
If we have a concave or a convex section. So I completely agree with you. And
when I started, there were only 4 schools in the world. So either you go away and there was no internet, and there was not the figure of the YouTuber because didn't exist, or someone that can make a tutorial on something that he knows or she knows how to do. Today, and I think this is a great chance, we all have access to this, and then there is a market out there that, of course, it's following me, it's following you, and other people. In my opinion, this is beautiful because it's rich. It's a richness of internet, the opportunity for everybody not to go through the hell that I went through when I was very young because I had no information. It was so hard. Today, the information is out there. It's out there also thanks to me and to you. I believe that the students or the passionate people, if they want to learn different technique of illustration, I think that is good because they must listen one person and listen another one. One more. There are so many. They're really a very good level. For example, I am on a very basic level because that's my engagement. I want to make sure that the basics of teaching in design are well understood by the people that follow me. Okay, that's my objective. My objective is not to show how you can make a better Photoshop. First of all, because I did Photoshop 20 years ago when it started, and after I went into design management, so I'm not using it anymore. And also because the way it's used today, from all those schools that generated all those YouTubers, okay, and also passionate, they just learned by themselves. It shows that if you don't have the right teacher on the right methodology, Photoshop, it's not an added value to your work. It's not. Many times it's bad, it's worst. But I believe that in this democracy, students should be very careful in making the choices to understand when they listen to someone that is making beautiful illustrations, they have to understand with their brains that they are following someone and learning something because of the sake of illustration, something that is different from me and from you or from my friends that are doing the same thing like Scott Robertson and others, okay? So, but if they go there and they believe that they have a great example how cars are made, that's wrong. And that's their fault. After I believe everybody is there thinking that they are doing good. I believe I'm doing well. I hope that what I do is really useful. Many times I ask myself, is it really useful or you're already too old for this generation? At the same time, I'm stubborn with my head, so I keep on going. And there are still people that follow me after so many years. But the most important thing, the message that I give to our followers that right now are 84 live, which is not bad at all. Generally, I have 30, 35 people, so it's very good. It's be very critical with the person that you have in front of your display and make sure that you understand that you have something to learn, but you don't have everything to learn only from one person. Like me, for example, I will give you the basics.
Okay, I have probably more than 45 students this year. And you know, every time I'm trying to push them to do the best, to work in the right way, to design in the right way, not just to draw, but to design in the right way.
Exactly. The design school is supposed to teach the right methodology to make people able to design, not just sketch. I agree.
And, you know, I feel that I'm trying to give them something about myself, my experience, my passion, my attention, my support. But in the same time, they are helping me to grow in terms like person, but in the same time in terms like designer. You know, it's great for me to see how they will see the future. Sometimes probably they don't understand the value of their ideas. Well, in the beginning, sometimes it happens that some ideas are a bit boring. You know, they draw something that is very common. So it's not easy to push them to be very, let's say, how did you say visionary, no? To see the future. But after a lot of meetings, reviews, they will start to be super creative.
They will unblock.
And I believe that this new generation, if it works correctly with good managers like you, they will play great in the next future and they will design something super cool. Probably, I'm sure they will design something much better than our period, you know what I mean? So, anyway, it's just my point of view about the thing. But
there is one thing very important, Michele, and I think that our friends that are following, probably they can see it also. If you see 20 years ago what design schools were producing, we had CCS, Art Center, Royal College, TCA in Tokyo, and if you compare what they used to show as a project, everything was different. Today, because all the tools are in common and information is in common, many design schools, when they make the models and their designs, there are a lot of things that look alike.
Yeah.
And in design school, this is very strange.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely, it's true.
And that's because people are following, in my opinion, rather the form than the value of what their creativity can add. They are more concerned to be as shiny, as good with Photoshop as Art Center, for example, than bringing with a good quality technique a better idea, a more innovative idea than Art Center or Royal College or other schools.
I agree with you. And my last question for tonight about our conversation. Later we will give all the guys the chance to ask something.
Yes.
And I know that you've been a teacher for 11 years.
Yes.
And in 3 different schools, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I want to ask you, what about the design schools today?
Okay, first of all, I want to clarify to the students, I was a teacher at Art Center Europe in Switzerland for 4 years, and I was teaching on Saturday class. Then when this experience with Art Center Europe was completed, I went to Istituto d'Arte Applicate Design, IAAD in Torino, for 2 years, in evening class, during the week, while I was a designer. So I always been a designer, okay? I was in theater, and also in the evening, I was going to teach, like Michele used to do. And
not during the night. Not during the night.
Yeah, because over there in Torino, there were evening classes.
No. In our school, just during the day. All my students will kill me.
And then after those first 2 years with IAAD, Istituto Europeo di Design in Torino, IED, asked me to open the transportation design department that today is still alive at IED. So I was the first one for 8 years to rule and manage the Istituto Europeo di Design in Torino, the transportation design department. I was teaching, I had 6 teachers with me, all foreigners from different design schools. And for 8 years, we had a beautiful experience. Okay, so This is just to make you understand why during those 11 years I've been teaching. I was a designer and I was teaching at the same time. Now, you asked me about design schools. Yeah. I say that I would say that I follow design school. Sometimes I'm invited for some lectures, you know, and I discover also new design schools that are really, really good. Like, for example, Umeå University in Sweden.
Sweden.
This school is very good. I had to admit, when I was there, Damian Horst, the director, he invited me the first time. I went there 3 other times. Sometimes as a jury member for the final exam, and some other times only for a lecture. And I found a really beautiful environment, very responsible, very design, okay, very well done. Lots of good partnership with companies. IAAD in Torino made an incredible change, you know, since 10 years now, more than 10 years, with Laura Milani, who is doing an excellent job in bringing the school from two-room school to the institution that today we have in Torino. Instituto Europeo di Design is still making their own efforts in being a very good school too. Few things changed after I left. I think that now it's a period they are going up again. There is always my friend Fulvio Fantolino, who is an ex-student of mine, very good friend, that is a manager over there in that school for the transportation design department. There was also Luca Borgogno, ex-student, who was head of the master over there.
Chief in
Pininfarina, exactly. So there is a small community. And then there are other schools, like in China.
There is also my school in Milan, the SPD Milano.
SPD Milano, it's one of the few schools in Milano that has been capable to be different from Polytechnic, because the other schools are more or less copying what the Polytechnic is doing, which is not, to be honest, what I think should be done for car design. But SPD is the school that can give you in Milano a very excellent and competitive program to be to get your master, and to also to have a very good preparatory prep-up program, not because Michele is teaching there, but because the whole structure is really making excellent efforts about that. And I also had the pleasure to have a few lectures over there when we were talking about the Twizy. We also brought 2 Twizy.
Yeah, I remember.
Driving the Twizy in Milano with the students.
Yeah, I remember.
It was very cool. Then in America, we have always the big...
the big
mamas, which
Art
is my
Center.
school, Art Center, okay, in Pasadena. And then my friend's school in CCS in Detroit, where I have a lot of friends teaching there, and some really good students that came out of there, and I had the pleasure to cross. Okay. Then we have, in China, I said, there is a new thing, that there are 2 engineering universities that made something very interesting. They really made a department that is very design department. So the good thing is that inside the engineering department, you have a department that looks like a part of Art Center. And that's very strange, because I said in my last live, engineers and designers are 2 different worlds that want the same thing, but they are still different. And over there, they made 2 words. They are very compatible. And this is a very nice experience, and I'm very glad about that. Then in India, we have NID for master, which is very, very high, important government-owned school. We have Rubica, which is going up a little bit after the latest strange news that the school had, but now it's going up. And then we have Strat College, which is a design university from Paris, that opened up in Bangalore, a very good school that is starting. But
India is pushing very strong and good.
Yeah, exactly. So the level for me today, it's basically there are 10 schools in the world that are pretty good, I would say. Of course, others are better, but we do not have anymore what we had 10 years ago. We had very good ones, And then we had a lot of schools that honestly.
Someone is asking, what about Pforzheim? But just a second.
Pforzheim is very good.
It's very good.
Very good. In Europe, it's the best.
One of the best, probably. Pforzheim, also good. Royal College in London, Coventry in England. Guys, there are a lot of design schools.
I forgot some, but help me, Michele. Because in Coventry, I was in Coventry, so I know. I know also the people that are managing over there. There's an Italian friend of us, Nicola Crea, who is head of the transportation design department over there. And that was a big surprise when I went there, and the school is doing really well too.
Anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoy. Thank you so much. And from Italy and from Paris, ciao.
Have a good weekend at Forza Milan. Sorry.
Forza Inter. Ciao, Luciano.
Ciao.